Tonight, the man restrained to the point of death and the police officers accused of lying about it. Kevin Clark was having a mental health crisis and told officers he couldn't breathe. Half an hour later, he lost consciousness. 2 officers could now be sacked. Disturbing details in court about the final moments of the life of 14-year-old Kellyanne Bokassa. Emily Damari's family reveal their joy at seeing her released by Hamas.
47th President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump.
He's just been sworn back into office, but where does London stand in the UK's special relationship with President Trump after Sadiq Khan renewed his war of words? And Sally will be here with some good news to cheer us up on Blue Monday. Good evening. Not long before he died, Kevin Clark warned police he couldn't breathe as he was restrained in a field for 33 minutes. But he was having a mental health crisis and desperately needed care and compassion. An inquest has already heard disturbing detail of Kevin's final moments, but today, at the start of a misconduct hearing, 2 officers accused of lying about what happened face the prospect of being sacked. A warning, Cafo Patter's report does include footage of Mr Clark being restrained.
What's your name? What's your name?
On the 9th of March 2018, police were called to reports of a man behaving strangely. That man, seen here on the ground, was 35-year-old Kevin Clark. Kevin had a history of mental illness, having suffered from paranoid schizophrenia. Minutes after arriving, police placed Kevin in restraints. It was at this moment where he is thought to have said, "I can't breathe."
Listen, you've got to breathe, you've got to breathe. Breathe.
Later that day, Kevin died while still in police custody.
It feels like work. It doesn't feel like we've just lost someone that we loved and cared for. It feels like now we have to, as the family, bereaved family, have to now go out there and fight for his name, just for the truth.
In 2020, an inquest concluded that Kevin's death was in part due to the use of an inappropriate restraint. It also found that it was highly likely that at least one officer heard him say, "I can't breathe." Despite this, PC Barnes and PC McAleenan, 2 of the officers closest to Kevin on that day, both swore under oath that they never heard those words. They now face a gross misconduct case, accused of dishonesty and lack of integrity. At her misconduct hearing, PC Barnes reiterated her claim that she did not hear Kevin say, "I can't breathe." She said the main priority was to get him medical attention and to get him to a hospital as soon as possible. Attending that hearing today was Kevin's family. They couldn't bear to watch his final moments, instead were quietly confined to the fact that no verdict will ever bring him back.
We've seen some disturbing video from court today, and it really must be difficult for his family to relive what happened that day.
It really is, and Charlene, you saw it yourself. It's a very difficult watch indeed. No surprise then that Kevin's family couldn't watch it in its entirety, taking their eyes away from the screen at some points while it's being played. In terms of what happens next, PC Barnes and PC McAleen are expected to continue giving their evidence tomorrow. The hearing itself is slated for 4 days, and given it's a gross misconduct hearing, it could result in both officers being sacked.
OK, Kath, thanks very much. To the death of 14-year-old Kellyanne Bokassa now, and disturbing details have been revealed in court about the last moments of the teenager's life before he was then attacked with machetes as he was on the bus home from school in Woolwich. Helen Keenan is at the Old Bailey for us tonight. Helen, can you talk us through what else was said in court today?
Well, we understand that members of Kellyanne's family were sat in court today, where the Old Bailey heard how the 14-year-old was attacked almost instantaneously on a bus in Woolwich. Now, he was stabbed around 27 times as he travelled home earlier this month. 2 teenagers, aged 15 and 16, have been charged with his murder. They cannot be identified for legal reasons. Now, the prosecution told the court Kellyan was sitting on the back seats of the bus on the upper deck when his attackers, armed with lengthy machetes, approached him. Now, the prosecutor went on to say that he is stabbed or attempted to be stabbed on a total of 27 occasions before the defendants made their way off the bus. Now, we also heard that one of those machetes was allegedly discarded in the River Thames, but it was later recovered. Both of the teenagers have been remanded into custody, and they are next due to appear in court on the 14th of April.
Helen, thanks very much. A manhunt's begun tonight after a woman was found dead in a flat in Woolwich. Police were called to the property on Friday afternoon and believe the suspect and victim knew each other. Detectives are still at the scene in Argyle Road. The Solicitor General is appealing against the murder sentence handed to Sarah Sharif's father on the grounds that it's unduly lenient. Fan Sharif was jailed with a minimum term of 40 years. Sarah was repeatedly abused at the family home in Woking. A bid to restructure Thames Water's troubled finances is being heard in the High Court. The financial overhaul is needed to manage an £18 billion debt. Without it, the UK's largest water company could end up in government hands. Now, for the family of Emily Damari, the smile on their faces said it all. After 15 agonising months pleading for her freedom, the Tottenham Hotspur-loving 28-year-old has been freed by Hamas. Emily has British-Israeli citizenship and her mum is from Surrey. As she was released, her family watched the dramatic events unfold, including her cousin from his home in Hertfordshire, as Antoine Allen reports.
Released at last. For 471 days, British-Israeli Emily Damari was held hostage. But yesterday, Emily was one of 3 hostages released as a part of a long-awaited ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. The hug Emily received from her mother will be the first step of a journey to heal a body scarred by a war that has claimed so many. Emily's mother wrote, "I am relieved to report that after her release, Emily is doing much better than any of us could have ever anticipated. I am also happy that during her release, the world was given a glimpse of her feisty and charismatic personality." During the attacks on the 7th of October, Emily was shot in the hand and dragged from her home in southern Israel. Since then, friends and family have campaigned for her release.
1 year has passed and she's still in hell. On the morning of the 7th of October, Emily was in her own apartment on Kfar Aza, our peaceful kibbutz. But that day, Hamas turned our home into a place of terror.
Emily is a Tottenham Hotspur fan. At the North London derby, rival fans came together to demand Emily's safe return. More hostages are scheduled to be released over the coming weeks. The ceasefire has already seen Palestinian prisoners of war released by Israel, hopefully signalling a coming end to a war that has already claimed the lives of too many innocent civilians. Antoine Allen, ITV News.
The government has revealed which of London's crumbling hospitals will be rebuilt and when. Boris Johnson announced the building programme when he was Prime Minister and Labour agreed to review it. This afternoon, Health Secretary Wes Streeting laid out the government's new plan.
Our review of the new hospital programme and the announcement I am making today will do 2 things. First, put the programme on a firm footing with sustainable funding so all the projects can be delivered. Yeah. Second, give patients an honest, realistic, deliverable timetable that they can believe in.
The new hospital programme will be implemented in 3 waves between now and 2039. Wave 1 will begin between 2025 and 2030 and includes Frimley Park Hospital and Hillingdon Hospital. Hospitals in Wave 2 are the Specialist Emergency Care Hospital in Sutton, Whipps Cross University Hospital, Princess Alexandra Hospital and Watford General. They will begin construction between 2030 and 2035. And Wave 3 will start between 2035 and 2039 and includes St Mary's Hospital and Charing Cross and Hammersmith hospitals. Right, still to come on the programme. Cutting-edge art, the important message going on display in an eye-catching exhibition. And why a little theatre tucked away in Hampstead is getting some big recognition. But first, the man Sadiq Khan, once called ignorant and divisive, is back in the White House at the start of what could be an awkward 4 years between London and Washington. There's a lot riding on the UK's so-called special relationship, and London has an important part to play in that. But can the war of words be replaced by diplomacy and dialogue in the city likely to host President Trump when he comes to Britain? Well, here's our political correspondent, Simon Harris.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
It was probably the last thing on his mind, but Donald Trump's return to the White House has reignited a feud between the American president and the Mayor of London.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
On Saturday, Sir Sadiq Khan used a newspaper article to warn we should be in no doubt this is a perilous moment. The spectre of a resurgent fascism haunts the West. And on Trump's ally Elon Musk, he wrote, a billionaire bully shouldn't be able to use his social media platform as a propaganda tool.
The mayor's motive for trying to become an American pundit is probably that everything is going so badly wrong here that it's a distraction for him from his day job. I mean, we're seeing the police underfunded, 1,300 police officers we may be about to lose because the mayor hasn't found the money in his budget.
Transatlantic sniping has long been a feature of the Trump-Khan years. The war of words between the two men began just over 9 years ago, before either of them were elected. Khan was horrified by Trump's proposal to ban Muslims from visiting America.
I think Donald Trump has ignorant views about Islam.
Trump responded by saying he was offended.
Yeah, I am, because he doesn't know me, never met me, doesn't know what I'm all about.
In the wake of the London Bridge terrorist attack in 2017, the mayor said people shouldn't be alarmed at seeing more police. Trump seemed gobsmacked, tweeting, at least 7 dead and 48 wounded in terror attack, and Mayor of London says there is no reason to be alarmed.
I simply haven't got time to respond to ill-informed tweets from the President of the United States of America.
In 2018, the mayor defended the right of protesters to fly a nappy-wearing caricature of the president, known as the baby blimp, during his visit to London. Their spat was reignited during another visit a year later.
He is the poster boy now of the far-right movement around the world.
He should be positive, not negative. He's a negative force, not a positive force.
Are he and Sadiq Khan ever going to see eye to eye on things? No. Does that make a difference to what Trump's been mandated to do by the American people? No.
But there was some sympathy for the mayor's view among climate change protesters who unfurled a banner opposite the Houses of Parliament.
I am quite exasperated, depressed that there was so little reaction to this. You know what I mean? They've just elected a neo-fascist climate denier to be the most powerful man in the world. You'd think there should be millions of people on the streets or something, you know what I mean?
The Labour mayor's sentiments weren't echoed by Britain's Labour government. Mindful of the need to build bridges with the new president, a minister said simply, we don't agree. Simon Harris, ITV News, City Hall.
An anti-knife crime campaigner who was stabbed 18 times and left in a coma has got together with a childhood friend to turn weapons into art. Farron Paul's eye-catching collaboration comes with an important message at a time when so many young lives are being lost. As Rags Martel reports, the display hopes to encourage young men off the street and into a world where crime is replaced by creativity.
Maybe even if we broke the blade.
Built to cut and kill. This knife is now a symbol of creation and campaigning.
How many times have you been stabbed?
18 times.
18 times?
Yeah, it happened on 2 separate occasions, 9 times each occasion, you know. But I was fortunate enough to use, you know, that experience to turn it into a fight against knife crime.
This knife is the length of a sword and used to be on London's streets. But this was the moment it was taken into safe hands through a knife amnesty created by Farron Paul.
Yeah, this is a specific knife that I picked up in 2022 from a young person. And for me, you know, it's just a real evident physical representation of something that was made to harm people and to be repurposed and transitioned into something so beautiful, you know, that can no longer hurt people. I just feel like it's an amazing thing, man.
The work of art is on display at Artism in Cavendish Square near Oxford Street. It's a collection from artists whose aim is turning destruction into creation. And Martin Jegede is the creator of the knife art, titled Impulse.
The heartbeat is kind of like obviously one of the most prominent things in life when you're born, when you die, pass away. So it's about turning it into something that kind of was impactful with one knife, and the heartbeat was, it's based on the lub-dub sound of the heart.
And this piece is made out of 12,000 bullets.
And again, it's a item of destruction into construction, and where violence is vanquished by art, and to be able to use bullets to kind of make you feel good was the whole aim of it. It's taking something hard and making it a softer object that way.
Farron Paul's anti-knife crime work has been championed by Idris Elba. They went to Downing Street together last year. The hope is that this exhibition will inspire young people.
I feel like it's a representation of change, you know. It's a way that a young person can see a weapon and not only see it as a bad thing, but see it as a thing of art. And if they can come here and make this a part of their desire or their talents, then it could be an amazing thing.
This piece will eventually be auctioned off, with the profits going back to fighting knife crime.
Artism opens to the public on Saturday at 28 Cavendish Square. Rags Martel, ITV News.
Now, with Misha Paris as executive producer and David Harewood being lined up to make a star appearance, a London director is attracting some A-list attention to a story that she took 15 years to write. Elsie Nemlin's film, Odile, takes the housing crisis, all inspired by real-life stories. Before we meet her, let's take a look at a mini version of the film.
£4,250? Where do we even get this kind of money? Sir, please, this is for my son.
I don't make the rules. I can't help you.
So you don't understand. This is life or death.
Oh, Elsie, thank you so much to coming in to talk to us about this. Now, this film has been sparked by your experience of working with London communities.
Yes, I used to, thank you so much, first of all, for having me. I used to work for a charity called Stand Up for Africa. That was almost 20 years ago. And then somebody contacted me and wanted help because, she had a lady who was exactly in the same situation you just saw. She needed help to move out of the her flat being given by the housing, by the council. But the place was full of gang, and they were just preying on her son. So the son was attacked, and they needed to move out ASAP. Where would she get the money from?
Yeah.
She started trying to get the money from so many people, nobody could help her.
And this is, I mean, that's what that experience is now what this film is based on.
That's right.
And I was wondering, do you feel as though social housing and youth violence, the connection between the two, do you think that's talked about enough?
I don't think so because, you always hear about knife crime, but you don't really link it to where people also live. Do you know what I mean? Because if you live in a place where you know that there's so much gang activity around you and you want to be able to move out of that place, the council won't help you because of that. Do you know what I mean? So this film is really an eye-opener that knife crime could also really be linked to the housing situation people live in. Because if you have a chance to be able to live in a safer area, you will move with your child.
Yeah.
But if you don't have the money to do that, you are stuck.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're right. I don't think that people look at that connection nearly as often as they should be with these stories. So how did you manage to get sort of Misha Paris and David Harewood involved in this?
It's a long story, but what I can tell you is that I contacted her agent and she read the script and she said, oh my God, I don't want to be left out. This is something I need to be part of. And she said yes.
Yeah,
and the same thing with David. David, I mean, he lives in Streatham. I also live in Streatham, and we go to the same church. But I also contacted his agent as well, and straight away he said, I am in.
It's a story, I think, that resonates with so many people.
That's what
now,
it
you've done a
is.
mini version, a pilot of the film. We played a clip a little bit earlier on. Did you enjoy making it?
Beautiful, I mean, we have it wasn't difficult to find, it wasn't easy to find, to get the funding, but I rallied all my friends, my family to give me the money to make that small version. Now we want to be able to make the full one where you will be seeing Miss Paris and also David Harewood as well.
So this is obviously a story that means a lot to you, and it's not one that's just London-centric. This is a situation that's replicated across the country, isn't it?
I mean, on the country, but also the world as well. I've had so many people contacted me from outside, even the UK, telling me this is a story we also want to hear about. You don't get to hear that very often in a film, so we want to see more of that.
Yeah. Well, Elsie, thank you so much for talking us through this, and good luck with finding the funding in order to be able to do a longer version of the film. Elsie, thanks very much.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Now, a tiny theatre got a big surprise after finding itself on the shortlist for a glitzy national award. Hampstead's Well Walk Theatre only has room for 50 people, and the entertainment comes in the shape of puppets. The couple running at the venue only took over last year, so why is it up for a British Stage Award? Anna Geary had a look around.
A tiny space with big ambitions. That's how the owners describe their venture in Hampstead. Formerly a grocer's, then a pottery, now a cafe, a bookshop and a theatre. Despite opening just 6 months ago, the site has already gained national recognition.
COVID struck, and for a very long time, we were in lockdown and at home, drawing the plans, imagining which shows we would be playing, starting to design the website, even the menu. After all those years of work, it's wonderful to get such reception from the real world.
The 50-seat theatre hosts original productions. The puppets are also made in-house. The sellout Christmas show returns in February.
It's the story of a little French character called Petit Pierre, and he decided to go to London for the day to meet the Queen, and he had this adventure because he wanted to bring her a camembert from Normandy. A lot of things happened to him during this journey.
The shows for children need to nurture their sensitivity and their imagination and celebrate it as well.
Celebrating creativity is a theme throughout the building, which does not have Wi-Fi.
We are parents and we are very concerned about the effect of the screens on our children's well-being, on their imagination.
Dylan hopes young people and adults alike can reconnect and collaborate here, ensuring the artistic legacy of the area lives on for many more generations. Anna Geary, ITV News.
Now, we are delighted to say that the Well Walk Theatre has just won the award at the British Stage Awards for Best Theatre Building. And they've just sent us this picture of them celebrating on stage. So huge congratulations to the entire team. Oh, that's really lovely. You're a fan of the theatre, aren't you?
Hello, pantomime.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That is very true.
Stage, microphones, lights, cameras. Yes, I'm a fan.
Yes, massive fan. Well, that's something really lovely and uplifting to lift us on what is Blue Monday, apparently. But weather-wise, Blue Monday is really being quite blue today. It's freezing.
I know, it's really... Do you get sad? Do you get seasonal
affective disorder? I think I do, because of where it's so dark when you wake up and you can't bother to get out of bed. And
I can't imagine you ever being sad.
Really? Really?
No, because you're never sad. But here is some good news for you. So daylight is on the up. Our sunrise is now before 8 o'clock. Last week it was 8 o'clock and after. This time next week we will have 24 minutes extra daylight. In February we get an extra hour and 40 minutes, and in March we get an extra 2 hours. So we are on the incline out of winter and out of the darkness. So tomorrow's not too bad weather-wise, and then it all gets a bit iffy as we go through the week. Potentially some wet and windy stuff at the end of the week. So we'll just keep an eye on all that for you. But as I said, tomorrow's all right. So try and get outside if you can. Here we go. Let's take a look.
ITV London weekday weather is sponsored by Octopus, the renewable energy company.
Hello again. I hope you had a good Monday. The only way's up for this little one, well, hopefully anyway, unlike the weather, which is kind of going downhill, I'm afraid, this week. But it's not too bad tomorrow. Some bright spells around, pretty chilly, but from Wednesday onwards, it starts to become a bit more unsettled and then quite wet and windy into Friday, and at times possibly over the weekend. So we just keep an eye on all of that. But let's start off with the here and now. Tonight, you can see we've got some clear spells developing, and where we've got those clearer pockets, that's where we're likely to get the pockets of frost. So some areas might wake up to a little bit of frost tomorrow morning, and potentially on the hills some fog as well. Our temperatures dropping down close to freezing, so it is going to be another cold start as we head on into Tuesday. But as I mentioned, sunrise is before 8 o'clock, so silver linings. Right, tomorrow you can see there'll be some brighter spells around, so hopefully you'll get a little bit more sunshine, but there's still plenty of cloud moving in as the day goes on. Highs of 4 to 6 degrees, another chilly one, but hopefully tomorrow less chance of seeing any drizzle, so it should stay dry. Into the evening, if you're heading out, more cloud moving in. Again, should stay dry, but there may be some hill fog developing once again. Now into the outlook. So the high pressure moves away and it does become a bit more unsettled. That front on Wednesday might bring some rain and more cloud, and into Thursday, this front looking to bring something a little more persistent and heavy, and then you can see this deep area of low pressure coming in for the end of the week. Its path is still a bit uncertain, but it looks like it will send us some wetter and windier weather as we head into Friday and Saturday. So we're just keeping an eye on that, particularly those strong winds, and we'll let you know how it pans out. Temperatures coming up a bit though. That's good. Cheerio.
Octopus Energy sponsors ITV London weekday weather.
Just before we go, more than a century after his death, it seems we still can't get enough of Vincent van Gogh. The National Gallery says its recent exhibition, called Poets and Lovers, broke records with almost 335,000 visits. The exhibition showed off the artist's most famous works, including sunflowers. The success of the exhibition makes it more popular than the previous favourite, Leonardo da Vinci, with more than 2,500 visits each day. Well, that's it from us. The evening news with all the latest from President Trump's inauguration is next with Mary. But for now, from all of us, enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye-bye.